In this video, I'll be teaching you about the 10 psychological tricks to get a guy to like you. Although you should never force him to like you, there are definite psychological mind tricks that you can use. These psychological tricks are ethical, backed by science, and can help you make a guy subconsciously be more attracted to you. Make sure to stay at the end to find out the bonus trick. Tip number 1, wear red. Stock up on everything red because recent studies have found that guys describe girls wearing red as more sexier than any other color and are more willing to date a girl in red. So make sure to put on that red dress or red lipstick for your next date. Tip number 2, compliment him. Most guys don't get complimented frequently, so when they do hear a compliment from a girl, they tend to get flattered. The only problem is that compliments lose their significance if you hear them all the time. So make sure to space out compliments to one per day to keep him on his toes. Tip number 3, use his name. Studies have shown that repeating someone's name is a quick and easy way to make people feel like they have a personal attraction to you, since it causes a unique effect on the brain. He will subconsciously like you a bit more just by saying his name. So try using phrases such as, "Mike, what have you been up to lately?" Or, "Should you give that a try, Tom?" Or, "I like the way you handled that, Ricardo." Tip number 4, reveal your flaws from time to time. This is possibly the hardest step. A lot of us have a tendency to really tense up when we're around the guy we like, and that's just natural. You might be asking, why though? This is due to a psychological effect called the Pratfall effect, and it's something you should really keep in mind. It explains that people are actually attracted to those who reveal their flaws, so it's okay to show him that you occasionally mess up. Tip number 5, expect good things for him. This tip is hard to find around on the internet. In simple words, have high expectations for him. According to the Pygmalion effect, people treat others in ways that are consistent with their expectations of them, and therefore cause the person to behave in a way that confirms those expectations. For example, if you think he's a jerk, you will subconsciously behave toward him in a way that triggers him to act like one. Tip number 6, make sure you have mutual friends. If you and him have mutual friends, there will be a greater level of attraction. Subconsciously, we are all wired to trust those who others can vouch for. This is why so many people meet their soulmates through mutual friends. If you have a mutual friend, get them to put in a good word for you, and he will be more than willing to give you a chance. Psychologists have a name for this. It's called Triadic closure. So what does this actually mean? There have been many studies on the psychological effect, but perhaps the most interesting one comes from a scenario that we can all relate to: social media. How many times have you had a friend request from some random person that you turned down? By contrast, how many times have you had a friend request from someone with a mutual friend that you accepted? Tip number 7, spend time with him. Obvious, right? But the more time you spend with someone, the more likely you'll be attracted to them. This is the magic of the mere expose effect. Studies prove that women who attended class more often were seen as more attractive by the men who attended the same class. Start by spending more time with him, but just don't be that person who follows him around everywhere. Bonus point, do something that's fun with him to get his adrenaline pumping. Psychologists call this the misattribution of arousal. Basically, when guys are doing something that causes a thrill, he is more likely to be attracted to the person he is with. So you might want to consider going to the theme park or maybe watching a scary movie together for your next date. Tip number 8, let him know. Although it may sound obvious sometimes, the simplest tips are the best. You need to let him know you're available. Most girls won't make a move or open themselves up to a possibility of a relationship unless they know the guy is looking. You can't expect him to be able to read your mind. Sometimes you have to drop some strong hints that you're available. You don't need to make it obvious, like announcing loudly to a room that you're single, but you can't be that person who stands in a corner at a party and then wonders why nobody's flirting with you. Tip number 9, body language. This is a good subconscious psychological tip that works amazingly well in many situations. You should know you have your own way of telling a guy that you're interested without saying a single word. And the truth is that many people may be sending the wrong messages through body language without even knowing it. Lots of us have a tendency to cross our arms in front of our torso, blocking it off in a protective manner. This actually sends the message that we're unavailable. Instead, open up your torso to show that you're available. Bonus point, prolong your eye contact and make sure to smile. According to social psychologist Arthur Aaron, prolonging eye contact and smiling plays an incredibly important part when it comes to attraction. Just make sure not to give eye contact or smile for too long, because he'll find it creepy. Tip number 10, possibly the most important one, Have a life outside of him. This is the foundation of starting a great relationship. When you're trying to get a guy to like you, you need to show him that you have an amazing and interesting life. This will give him the green light to pursue you. You could do this by literally having one interesting passion or hobby. When you're actually passionate about something, he will notice this and find this very attractive about you. It could be baking, teaching yoga, reading, drawing, playing an instrument, or learning a new language. As long as you are passionate about it and it's true. Bonus tip: know how to touch him. Although touching is seen by many as something you should only do after you know someone is interested in you, there's a little bit of leeway here. You definitely don't want to be touching him in a suggestive way after just meeting him, but there are subtle things you can do which will make him like you more. Examples include touching a man's arm briefly during a conversation. Try not touching his face because this might be slightly invasive. Another way is tapping on their shoulder to get their attention. These actions are extremely innocent, and on a deep unconscious level, there is always a heightened sense of intimacy when physical touching is involved, however brief and innocent. There have been numerous studies on this effect, and it's known in the psychology world as subliminal touching. Thanks for watching. Hit the like button if you want me to make more videos like this. Make sure to subscribe to my channel. Comment below if you're going to use some of these tricks. If so, which one? To get all the latest from disruptive development, hit the notification bell too.